You wouldn't drink that, I hope. And your car shouldn't have to either. If your coolant is past its service schedule, looks diluted or dirty, this is how to flush and replace your coolant in 4 steps. Here's what you'll need. First of all, your safety essentials, safety glasses and disposable gloves. Now some parts and consumables. Cooling system flush, fresh coolant, high temperature thread sealant and probably a few rags as well. This job can get messy. Then some tools, some sockets, spanners, screwdrivers and perhaps some pliers. Wheel chocks, a suction gun, drain pan and a coolant filling funnel round out the list. Unless your vehicle's a little low, then a trolley jack and axle stands will be handy. A mechanic's creep is nice to have as well. Alright, now this engine won't flush itself, so let's get into step 1 and drop the old coolant. Apply your handbrake, pop the transmission into gear or park and flick the heater all the way on. On later models, heater controls are electronic, so you may have to turn on the ignition to allow the heater tap to open. The heater must remain on throughout the job. This allows the heater core to drain, flush and fill. Now chock the wheels and if needed, raise the vehicle onto axle stands. Lift the bonnet and find the coolant pressure cap. On some cars it's right here on top of the radiator. On others you'll find it on a separate coolant pressure tank. If you're unsure, check your vehicle owner's manual. Before you remove the cap, make sure your vehicle is cold. If it's warm at all, kill some time while it cools. Check the cap as you remove it for signs of damage or leaking around the radiator and recovery bottle. It's best practice to replace the cap at the end of your coolant change. Next, you've got to slide underneath the car and look along the bottom of the radiator for the drain plug. Don't stress if you can't find it. Some cars don't have one. If in doubt, a flick through your service manual will straighten things out. If there's no drain plug, you can loosen the hose clamp and slip the bottom hose off the radiator. Be ready for all the coolant at once. If you're removing a bung, the flow is usually a little more controlled. Once the coolant flow has reduced to a drip, replace the bung or radiator hose and pour the old coolant into bottles ready to dispose of in line with your local council regulations. Now you're ready for step 2, a cooling system flush. Use the coolant filling funnel to empty the bottle of cooling system flush into the radiator or pressure tank, not the overflow tank. Top the system all the way to full with some fresh tap water and then clear the engine bay of everything except the funnel. Start your car and let it idle. Then check the funnel. You're likely to find that the water level has dropped as air bubbles in the system have moved. Squeeze your radiator hoses a couple of times to expel any further bubbles. Then top it up, remove the funnel and replace the cap. The instructions on your cooling system flush will tell you how long to idle your car for. It's going to be a while though, so park outdoors. Once the cooling system flush has done its bit, allow the vehicle to cool before repeating step 1. If the coolant flush is super dirty, you can repeat step 2 as many times as you like using either straight fresh water or cooling system flush. Ensure that the engine reaches operating temperature each time for the flush to be effective. Once you're satisfied the flush has done its job, pop all the flushed water aside for disposal later and let's move into step 3, preparing for coolant. In step 1, we drop the coolant, which removed most but not all of the coolant. To completely empty the system on most vehicles, you'll need to drain the engine block. Your service manual will tell you whether your vehicle has a block drain and where it's located. Often the block drain plug looks just like a typical bolt. As you remove it, be ready with a few containers to catch the water. Your service manual may recommend that you apply some thread sealant to the drain plug before refitting. Then torque the drain plug to specification. The last thing to be emptied is the coolant overflow. How you empty this depends on your vehicle. In this case, we're using the suction gun to remove the old coolant. With your cooling system clean and empty, you're ready for the 4th and final step, replacing your coolant. Filling your car with the correct type and amount of coolant is super important, and it's super easy to get it right using the Supercheap Auto My Garage feature. Here you'll find the correct type and amount of coolant. You can choose pre-mixed, ready to go, or concentrated, which you must then mix with distilled water. Whichever you choose, follow the instructions to ensure you have the right amount for your vehicle. If the required amount of coolant won't fit, there is air in the system, which must be expelled. Select vehicles will have a bleed screw or require a vehicle-specific cooling system purge kit to achieve this, so check for instructions in your service manual. Otherwise, squeezing your radiator hoses may remove some air, but to bleed all the air and fit all the coolant, you'll need to run the engine again and wait until it reaches operating temperature where the thermostat opens. Keep adding coolant as the level drops, keeping tabs on the amount poured until you've reached the suggested quantity. Now you can switch off the engine, replace the cap and top up the coolant reservoir to the full mark. Your vehicle is now ready to drive. Over the next few days, some air pockets may be expelled, so check and top up your coolant if necessary after each drive when the engine's cold. Speaking of cold, that's better. Find detailed instructions and more ways to help you make it super at Supercheap Auto's Super DIYs. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, make it super at Supercheap Auto.